Welcome to Michigan Reimagined, presented by Good Marketing and Wagoner Financial. And here's your host, Chris Buck.
So it's become commonplace for people to complain about work. Many will flippantly make disparaging comments about their jobs, but others will feel real disdain and disengagement about their work lives. A group of professionals have decided it's time to change that. And that brought a thought process and launched the Empowerment Institute for Michigan. Here to discuss their mission, the curriculum, are the president, Dr. Tonya Bailey, and COO Amy Partin. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Appreciate you being here. So, it's so true. And even if people don't really mean it, it just seems like it's expected that you complain about your workplace. So I'm really interested in unpacking this conversation. So now I suspect that you've both been in the workplace for a while and that this is maybe kind of a new endeavor for you. So talk about what made you decide to form this organization and change this narrative.
Sure. I'm happy to kick us off, Chris, and thanks again for having us today. We really appreciate what you do here and helping people just understand what's going on in Michigan and the concept of Michigan Reimagined, which actually leads into part of why we got involved in this organization. And that is you look across the state and you see so many leaders that are not enjoying what they do. So many employees and individuals that are going to work to the 9 to 5 because we all have to earn a living, or most of us do. But not enjoying that and not feeling connected to who they are as individuals. And so at the heart of what we do is to help people get back to who they are, why they're doing what they're doing, or what they feel like their purpose is in life, and then be able to give them the tools to be able to do that, not just for themselves, but for those around them, so that we can have joy at work.
Right on.
Yeah. And I think it's very important. And thank you again for having us here. I think it's very important for us to recognize the obvious, the pink elephant in the room. Like, not everybody wakes up and go, yee, ready to go to work. And so what can we do to bring back that love for what we do, that passion, to where an individual can see themselves thriving in their organization and contributing no matter what their title or role is. That's an individual or inward win or inward victory that I believe we promote at the Institute and through Joy at Work.
So is there anything specific about today's climate that makes this more important, or has this been just a problem for a long time and you've all put it together now to launch this endeavor to help people with this?
Yeah, I think both and. I think it's always have been an issue. I think even more, and Amy can share some statistics in a few minutes, but I think it's always been that issue that we haven't really found that niche where we are employing people or being an employee and enjoying that all at the same time, right? Enjoying the process. And I think it's more of an issue now because of the world that we live in, right? Not only is there a need for employment, but there is also a need to retain and to also empower those that are in our workspaces, right? And so if never before, I think it's important because the need to value humanism, the need to value one another, and to celebrate that. I think what we're offering is going to provide an answer to, I think, generations of solutions or problems that have existed in our workplace from year after year. This is critical because people need to know that they're valued.
Sure.
People need to know that they matter, and people need to know that they're seen and respected like never before.
Are there statistics that talk about what the downside of people not enjoying their work life is all about?
Sure, I'd be happy to share that. And I'll just add to what Dr. Bailey was talking about there in your earlier question about how is today different. And I'll add some statistics to that. And that is, I feels like today we're more polarized than maybe we ever have been, at least in my lifetime. It feels that we're further apart instead of closer together. And with that polarization, I think people take a step back from their authentic selves. They feel a little less comfortable to assert, this is who I am, and to also be open to who are you, and how do I, how do I make myself available to you, to understand you, and for you to understand me, and for us to come together and have a great relationship, whether it's work or home or play. And so I think for those reasons, things are different today in that way. And we want to be part of the solution to saying, how can we have stronger civil discourse? How can we have partnerships that can move forward, accepting each other and valuing that? So we do have a few statistics, and there are a lot of other ones that we could be tapping into. This happens to come from Headspace 2024, which is a workforce state of mind report. Mm-hmm. And it shows that 71% of employees believe work-related stress caused a personal relationship to end, whether it's a breakup or a divorce.
Wow.
That we understand that what happens in our 9 to 5, we carry that home every day, whether that is something that's positive or negative. Mm-hmm. And so it can really have an impact across a person's life. Some of the other statistics, 46% of healthcare workers report high or extreme stress. We see that it's a really difficult situation for healthcare workers for lots of reasons. 77% of employees believe work-related stress has negatively affected their mental health. Yep. And so that stress that we just carry in terms of who are we, why are we here, what are we doing, what is the purpose of my life,
right?
Those kinds of things. 47% of employees say the majority or all of their stress comes from work, is another one that I think is compelling.
And I'll just add to that, Chris, too, that you think about just the typical 9 to 5. We're spending 40 hours plus.
Yep.
Most of us spend more time at work than we do at home, right? And so the statistics that Amy just shared is so important right now because we recognize we're spending a lot of time away from home. It's causing burnout. It's causing stress. And just from the medical side of that, think about how that impacts your physical wealth, your physical well-being. Yep. And so it absolutely matters more than ever right now that we are providing a resource and solution on how we can have a balance, not just only a balance from work and life, but to be at an even keel in everything that we do, finding joy at work, finding joy at play, finding joy with one another.
Right. Got a lot of stuff I want to unpack on that. But first, I want to give a nod to our friends at Good Marketing. Here at Michigan Reimagined, we tell stories of passionate Michiganders doing great things across the state. Today's podcast sponsor, Good Marketing, helps organizations tell those stories in powerful and measurable ways. As a behavior change accelerator, Good partners with mission-driven clients to inspire action, shift mindsets, and strengthen communities. From advancing affordable housing to protecting natural resources, expanding education and workforce opportunities, their work moves Michigan forward. See how they're helping shape Michigan's future at goodmarketing.com. That's GUD marketing.com. So your mission is to help fix all this.
That's right.
To change those statistics that Amy just read off. And I think that that's a phenomenal thing. I guess as a spectator or as a trying to put my head on the listener's shoulders, how much of this is just trying to help the individual worker shift their mindset versus making an employer a better place to work? Or are you trying to do both, right? I mean, there are people out there who just say, I work for a company that doesn't do a good job of giving a darn about their employees, or maybe I own some of this and don't come in with the right mindset, and I'm not very effective at engaging my coworkers to try to get out of my work what I need. So are you trying to do both, or are you working mostly with the individual? This is not your course, which we'll really kind of get into in a second, is not a bunch of people from the same employer working through resolving some issues and making them a better. These are more individual enrollees trying to get their head straight on what they're living through.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we see it as an all, not an either or.
Okay.
And we believe that as we start to really impact who we are, really identifying our vision, our value, our purpose in life, and having that tapped into no matter where I show up or what organization I show up in, whether, as you mentioned, it's not a good company or bad leadership, doesn't matter. If I'm showing up authentic, whole, value, respected, I am going to be that pebble in the water that makes a ripple in a very positive way, right? And so it's individual. And then for those that have the privilege of leading organizations, being a part of that, the decision makers, if you will, you're still the same individual that is showing up to work. Whether your responsibilities might be a little bit more weighty than someone else's, it's still about having that internal and winning from within. I think that helps our organization. I'm sure Amy will share more too, but I think that helps all of us win. But when we take it from an individual standpoint and then it permeates throughout our organization, we'll see the change.
Got it. Okay. Anything to add?
I'll just add that our purpose is really to transform leaders and organizations through love, which is kind of a interesting word to use in business, and we can share more about that.
Please.
I'll just share that when you ask the question, are we focusing on the individual or the organization? We do have programs that are focused on individuals. We do also offer programs that are organization-wide and tools that people can use, an assessment at the front end to see where are they at in that continuum and what needs to happen and how do they want to embrace that. But in terms of our purpose, when we talk about love in the workplace, people kind of feel a little uncomfortable. They start moving around.
Yeah.
And so it's really the agape love, the brotherly love, the sisterly love. We recognize that in order to have strong relationships, you have to start first with that confidence in each other, that I'm here for you. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, to show that over time with that relationship. And so when you have that individual who understands themselves, you have that agape connection of I care about you as a human, I want what you need to have happen as well, then you have this really strong foundation that you can build on.
Right. Okay. So you are, the Empowerment Institute for Michigan is a reasonably new entity. Is that correct? This is all rolling out and is now live, but this is a new endeavor. I didn't find this organization that's been around for 50 years and interviewing the principals of it. This is a conversation about a new endeavor. So what exactly would a person who's listening saying, this fits my need? We'll talk about how they get engaged with you. We can do that now. What is I would imagine they go to a website to learn more, and then they can enroll or ask questions, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. The website is empowermentinstituteglobal.org/Michigan.
Got it. Okay. And so what would they be asked to do? If they sign on and just say, this really resonates with me, what am I going to experience?
Sure. I'll kick us off and say, to answer the first part of your question, the Empowerment Institute for Michigan is only about a year old. We're about to celebrate our first anniversary in August.
There you go.
Super excited.
The principal of the organization, the CEO, Dale Dan, has been at this work for about 50 years.
Wow. Okay.
So she has been involved in 26 different countries. She's trained 8,000 people using this philosophy. So the concept is not new, but this presence for this work is new to Michigan.
Got it.
And so as we were naming the organization, originally it was going to be the Empowerment Institute of Michigan. And one of our partners that you might know, Luciana Solis, who's involved in Lansing, is on our board. And she said, I think it should be the Empowerment Institute for Michigan. And it's an important distinction because it's not of, but it's really for, to help support the growth, the renewal, to have, Michigan reimagined, as your show is called, to pull people in and to make it a draw for the people that work in Michigan. And so, yes, a great place to start for someone who's interested is to go to the website, learn a little bit more about the different programs, whether it's a workshop, whether it's a class, whether it is a consulting arrangement. We're happy to, again, do that assessment and then create a custom program.
Okay.
There's a variety of ways.
So but you don't tailor make the curriculum for each individual person that approaches you. You have cohorts, right? There is a series of engagements that are kind of group led. Is that my understanding?
It is, and also we can customize special resources or empowerment needs depending on the individual and also depending on that organization. So we're not limited at all. Once you go on our website, you'll see that we have something for everyone, for every individual, whether your organization is 300 employees or 3 employees or a team of 1. I think what we're providing is customized needs for every individual and organization. And yes, we do have wonderful courses and initiatives that they can get involved in as well. So we do customization.
Got it. But is there a standard? Is there kind of a standard plan? And what is that? Like, what would the average person kind of come in and say, okay, sign me up? What would they basically get or get involved in?
I would say that there's a standard philosophy and an approach to how we offer these services, in terms of, we believe that it starts with understanding who you are as an individual, that the concept of joy at work, which then leads into a focus around leading through love. How does a leader actually do this agape style love that I was speaking of in terms of their workforce and their individuals that are part of their team? Access and engagement is the next part of that philosophy, that people need to have both access and engagement to be able to fully express what they have available to the organization. And the final part would be I'm trying to remember the last part.
Oh, gosh. As soon as you said it, went out of my head. Well, overall, I think for your question, Chris, once a person goes to our website or reaches out to us, the hardest part is going to decide, where do I get started? Because there's so many opportunities that they can get involved in, whether it's, Amy mentioned, it's through our course, whether it's through a customized consulting aspect that they're doing with us, whether it's getting in part of one of our initiatives that we have going forward. And then, again, going back to, where do I need to be empowered for myself? Where do I want to start at? Maybe there's a leader listening today and you're thinking, gosh, this sounds so much like what I need for my organization. They'll be able to reach out to us and be able to say, these are some things that I'm working with, and then our team will be able to help them identify what will work best for them and then get them on the road to having joy at work and more.
The last part was servant leadership.
Which
is probably what I just started with. And I'll just add to that, too, that currently, if say somebody wanted to get started, they're interested in the program, they're hearing about this today, and they want to take some action. A good first step would be to consider, we have a 15-week program that's available. That's the certificate program that you might be thinking about. So that allows people to come in over the course of 15 weeks. They have 10 online Zoom sessions. We've got coursework that's online in between, a lot of reflection, a lot of sharing with others that are part of that cohort that you were speaking of. We also have coming up an Empowerment Through Fashion, which is a 6-week program where people can really understand themselves from the inside out, both first figure out how you're dressed on the inside before you figure out how to dress on the outside, and ends with a really great fashion show that we're actually having at the Lansing Airport.
Oh, no way. Okay.
So that'll be runway on the runway.
You'll have to enroll, Chris. You'll have to enroll.
But again, if there's a leader who is looking at their whole organization and saying, you know what, I really like this concept and I want to adopt it, I want to learn more about this for my organization, that's where it becomes more customized, and we can have a conversation and say what pieces of this philosophy are needed in that organization.
Right on. Before I forget, I want to thank our wonderful friends at the Kirk Byron State Farm Insurance Agencies. Today's podcast sponsor is a good friend named Kirk Byron's, runs a State Farm Insurance Agency in Okemos. Their mission is to put the customer first when helping them plan for risks of everyday life, to prepare for the unexpected, and to realize their financial goals. Kirk and his team build value and confidence in your auto, home, life, health, business insurance, and financial service needs. Kirk's always looking for the opportunities to help customers in mid-Michigan and around the country. Everyone has insurance needs, and you do well by contacting Kirk and his agency to hear what these experts have to say. You can get in touch with them by calling 517-349-3830 or look them up at sfbyrons.com. You will not regret it. So you mentioned Zoom calls. So are most of these virtual, or are people driving to buildings to have these kind of group sessions in person?
Well, it's a plethora of both. So we do have hybrid as well as online options for our Joy at Work course. When we talk about the Empowerment Through Fashion, that's going to be in person.
Yep, that makes sense.
So that will allow for any interested participant to join us, whether they have that busy schedule and online works just great for me, or I really need to see people be in the classroom. We have all of those options available.
So who are the instructors? And how are they? I mean, Dr. Dale, Dr. Dale Dan. I'm sorry, Dr. Dan is the brainchild behind this. 50 years of set of experience and tried and true. Lots of people trained. I assume she trains the trainers to get this philosophy down. And who are these people? Are they other community members like yourselves?
So Dr. Dan does the first piece of that curriculum that I was describing, the Joy at Work curriculum, and kind of the umbrella for the organization's services. As we move into the Leading Through Love, Dr. Robert Ronska is a leading expert on the topic who comes in virtually to participate in providing that part of the curriculum to students. The Access and Engagement is Dr. Frank Douglas, so he comes in and does that. And then our final session, which is servant leadership, is Dr. Jim Laub. And so this is actually the first iteration of Joy at Work that Dr. Dale has pulled in these other national experts. So Michigan is getting the enhanced version.
No
Each of these individuals have written books on the topics, are nationally recognized experts in their field, and so we're able to infuse that here in Michigan, which is really exciting.
No doubt.
That's world-class facilitators from all around the world. There's also guest speakers that come into some of our sessions that bring global experiences. So Michigan is getting the best of the world as it relates to trainer and expertise in this regard, and I'm really excited that we're able to bring such high caliber of experts to our community.
I'm glad you mentioned the additional participants and then also people who take the class who show a level of expertise and engagement can also be trained as trainers, whether
cool.
that's through our program or in their own workplace. And so that gives us an opportunity too for people who are new to this and are thinking about it in terms of how it has really applied to them in their workplace, being able to facilitate that training for others.
Right. Even maybe within their workplace.
That's
Absolutely.
right. Yes.
And maybe not even to overtly, actively train, but be that little change agent after they've come out of your class to be able to evoke change within their own workplace. So you read a lot of statistics earlier that are very troubling. I would imagine that that's kind of the bar. I usually ask, how do you measure results, and what is your kind of timeline, and how do you measure success, and that kind of stuff. But the goal is to read a report from 2029.
There you go.
Where that 71% is now 42%, and the 41% is now a 27%, right? That you start knocking that down. So that's fantastic. But obviously you've got a road ahead of you before you could probably even measure any statistical returns. If I'm a listener and I'm intrigued by doing this, is there a way to kind of succinctly explain what they will walk away with at the end of, say, if they did that 15-week, series of classes, like kind of what kind of tools might they have to go back into the world to deliver?
That's a great question. I will just share from personal experience because I've taken the course, right? You're going to get a transformative experience, one for yourself, and I guarantee for any organization or group that you're a part of. One, you're going to know how to articulate what your purpose is, be able to cast vision, be able to lead from not only within, but then also others by recognizing how to respect and how to value what every person brings to the table. I love that this course in particularly allows you to have a capstone project at the end.
Okay.
And that is something I've been already using in my other organizations to be able to take all of the principles and tools that I've learned right into practice. And so things are handmade for you to go forward and change the world, but more importantly, change you, improve you. And I think, again, my analogy of that pebble being placed in the water, you'll have a rippling effect. And so there's some great tangible skills that you walk away with. And I also say this before I pass the mic over to Amy, is that the relationships that you're able to build with other participants from around the world that are taking the same course, that those networks you're able to build upon and have that as a part of the experience that you've been able to have during this course. So
I think you nailed it. That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's great. That's great. And if people are kind of teetering, like, are there any signs that a listener might want to kind of reflect on, that you could put into their heads and just say, if you're experiencing these kinds of feelings, or if you're having these kinds of problems, we believe our solution is what you're looking for. Is there a way to kind of quickly summarize that as we wrap up?
We just need your voice to do that, because you just said that so wonderfully well. I would say this, if a listener is leaned in this moment, you've been frustrated about going into work. You hate getting up in the morning, going to work. When you get there, you don't feel as if you're valued, seen, or appreciated. You feel like you could be doing more in life, and that you haven't really been able to hone in on what my passion is, what my gift is to the world. We've got a solution for that. We've got an institute for that. And if you're also passionate about how do I do this through respect, love, and encouragement, empowerment for others, we are the place that you're looking to be connected with.
Right on. So they may not be in the wrong career. They may need, and you don't need to quit your job because you may find yourself back in that same trap with a new employer.
Right.
Because a lot of the change is going to be internal.
Yeah. And then to the other side of that, or just an additional, if you are an organizational leader and you're looking at how do I get the best out of my greatest asset, which are the employees.
Right.
How do I do that?
Turnover's expensive.
Get right. Turnover's expensive. Budgets have been cut. We customize everything, even from pricing, to make sure organizations can win. We want you to give us a really good look and a great call today.
Awesome. Remind everyone how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, please check out our website, which I mentioned earlier, which is the empowermentinstituteglobal.org/Michigan. Please contact us. There's information there that you can reach out. connect@empowermentinstituteglobal.org is our email address, and we'd love to hear from you. Please reach out.
Wonderful. We've been speaking with the president, right? Yes. President, Dr. Tonya Bailey, COO Amy Partin for the Empowerment Institute for Michigan. Thank you so much for joining me here
Thanks
today.
For having
it's been a pleasure.
Chris.
Good luck with everything you're doing. We need it more than ever.
Thank you.
All right. And I'd love to give a final shout out to our loyal sponsors, Wagoner Financial, Good Marketing, Triterra Environmental, Keller Williams Advantage and Team, Michigan Rise, Kirk Byron State Farm Insurance, and the attorneys at Foster Swift. All doing great work in our communities. And if you found the show as a one-off, please like and subscribe to Michigan Reimagined everywhere you find your podcasts. This is Chris Buck signing off for Michigan Reimagined.